there are many things you could write about and stories that are out there. Why this story?
Oh, wow. I kind of just felt like I hadn't seen this story before, so that was automatically exciting. I'd seen movies that were about three-way relationships or marriages that invite someone else in, but um, a lot of the times they were kind of maybe all about the sex, or they were like very dramatic and someone died, or someone learned their lesson, like not to do that sort of thing. I hadn't ever really seen a three-way relationship treated the same way you would treat any other kind of like Hollywood romantic comedy kind of story. So that idea was immediately appealing to me, to sort of be able to hit all the beats of your typical love story, but to get to do it with three people instead of two, you know? So that was super fun. It was a big open casting call. I did it all online. I had never met any of these actors before, and I just looked at like thousands of reels. I didn't really look at headshots. I didn't really care about the headshots so much, and so like if someone just sent a headshot, I would just be like, not interested. Like, I just want to see if you can act. Basically, I didn't really have looks in mind. It was more like energies, and also can you act? So I combed through tons and tons and tons of reels, and then whittled it down to the top 10, 12 people to have come in and read. And then when these particular people walked into the room, it was like, oh yeah, obviously done them. And then you have them read together just to make sure they have chemistry, and that definitely wasn't a problem because the chemistry between them was sort of immediate. So once we got all three of these guys in a room together, it was like, all right, cool, we're good, let's go. Let's
Well,
get to
you
work.
could tell that, just from the organic way the film started, and it was just real. This felt like real people dealing with real stuff. It wasn't sort of this overblown sort of Hollywood kind of thing that you got. So, of course, we're going to go right back to the actresses and actors on this. When you guys, of course, you saw the sides, you knew what it was. When you actually like read the script, and what was the thing about this story that each one of you said, okay, I'm going to work on this and I'm in? What was that for each one of you?
Um, well, for me, the writing for the sides was, fantastic. And I knew that Victor had a background in comedy from the television side, because he had worked on Portlandia, which is also something that I tend to look for, someone who's directing who has a little bit of experience in post-production, because you can tell that they're going to know what angles to use and how to piece things together. And then when I read the script, it just immediately, it was something that I had never done. I mostly did indie dramas and stuff. And so to be able to do my first comedy and a romantic comedy was a chance for me to really come into my own. And I think it was the first project where I really got to access me and that part of my personality that I had, never been given an opportunity to do before. And Victor saw that and highlighted it. And so I was extremely grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah. Reading the sides, I thought the lines were super refreshingly great. Like, because it's not, it's hard to find good writing, especially now. But yeah, so it was definitely the sides, and I think it was a character that I felt like I could bring my own spin to, and that's always fun. And being able to talk to Vic, and there was like some room to, he was open to like adjusting the character and kind of making the character seem more like a little bit more like me, and how what I could bring to it. So that was also fun to have a director who is willing to have those conversations.
Yeah, when I got the sides, there were a lot. I remember being like, oh, wow. I want to see what I can do. There were I think there were like 11 pages total. Like there were multiple scenes, and they were all multiple pages. But they were also wisely chosen, because each scene required the actor auditioning to offer something different of this person. They were vastly different. So I was excited that whoever was deciding this on the production side of things knew that needed to happen for the actor to showcase themselves. And I really did. I fell in love with the whole story. I fell in love with Nena, who I played, and I fell in love with the other characters. They're all flawed. I think they're also all searching for something, and that feels very human to me. And that I was just drawn to those qualities.
Well, I like when something's organic. I especially like the opening where, he's like the party's planned and you're like, wow, I'm not into surprises. And it's like, well, have you ever had a surprise party for you before? It's such something that most of us would like say without even thinking about what we're saying in those moments. And I think that we need stories where people are talking like how people actually really talk and things that are actually really happening in your lives, which I really love that about that story.
Well, Victor was awesome in providing some reading, some resources so that we could educate ourselves on this lifestyle, if you will. So there was that. And then on an individual basis, just doing my own homework as well and learning about the various relationships that are offered. And I learned a whole other world outside of just polyamorous and, monogamy. Um, but it was staying open to learning about it and exploring it, right, as an individual and as an actor. And I kind of just treated it as a relationship. I didn't necessarily have to pinpoint it and say we are doing a three-way, like, or this is going to. It was just like these are individuals that are in a certain situation and they're exploring it. So I just tried to keep it. I did kind of threw any type of label or title or anything that surrounded it and out the door and just approached it as like individuals exploring a new situation.
Yeah, I think that's really well said, Rachel. And I approached it basically the same way. It's funny because I grew up in Los Angeles, and so this was also not that taboo for
Mm.
for me. So it's not like I came from you know maybe an area that's more conservative, and now I'm just finding out what polyamory is. It was something that I've always kind of known about, and so it's um, maybe that gave me my own. I think that really actually worked well for Olivia, that she wasn't shocked by, or it wasn't super daring, or it wasn't, had this shock factor. It was, oh, okay, this is just an option of how to be in a relationship, and so.
Yeah, no, I think that was a good point. I come from New York, and I had never heard of polyamory until I got out to Los Angeles. And running into somebody who is polyamorous is like finding a Ralph's. They're everywhere. But I had a friend of mine. I won't mention his name, but he was in a polyamorous relationship, kind of against his will. The girl that he was dating was, polyamorous, and the degree to which this individual became, like a Macbeth type character was completely like having a nervous breakdown because he didn't know how to process it. And so before I had even gotten the script, the term was so demonized in my head just because I saw what it was doing to my friends. And then to meet Victor and to learn more about it and read the script and stuff, it was kind of nice to get, the other side of the story.
Yeah. I think maybe sometimes in society we think the man initiates this kinds of stuff. It's really interesting how we get all these different ideas. So, Victor, when you're on set and you're doing the project, were there moments for you where you saw things in the characters you wanted to just change, or you felt a different direction you would go into? And when you got to that point, if it happened, how did you approach it?
I mean, we try to approach things in a very playful way, where if we got to a moment that was feeling wonky, we try to figure out why. Is it the dialogue? Are you just not? Because working with good actors, when it's working. So it's very obvious when it's not working, and then you get to figure out why. There's one scene where it was written where one character walks into a room and the line is like, "I'm sorry," and then they leave. And like in shooting the scene, it was like, "No, you shouldn't say this. You should say this." Like we flipped who said it, and it changed everything. And like just little things like that you kind of have to feel your way through and be open to the moment, instead of I mean, the script is pretty carefully mapped out, and because I knew we had such a solid foundation, it allowed us to play more and to experiment more and to really let each of the actors, take things and run with them. I think you just want to set up the opportunity for them to score big. And Kate was saying earlier how once she was cast, we sort of adjusted some of the details of the character's background and stuff to better match her. That's really just like, you know, that's an example of wanting to figure out what each person can bring, how to maximize like what they're good at, and like make it feel more real, and then you can adjust from there. Yeah. Instead of having them fit perfectly into these little boxes.
Doing this film, what did each one of you learn about yourself as an actor doing the project, or maybe just on a general basis? Like, wow, did you come away with something that was significant to you that you learned that you maybe hadn't recognized before?
That's a good question.
Because Drew in the story is such a pushover in certain aspects, and kind of takes a back seat to the whole thing, it really put my life into perspective, because I was going through stuff at the time where I realized that, oh my God, I am this person. Like I am a bit of a pushover. And at the end of it, I kind of got my power back. It was a nice like cleansing experience, and I reasserted myself and got to, move on and back to who I once was.
I think I walked away with really trusting my intuition. As an actor, I feel like that's probably my strongest tool. And with training, you use that, but there's also training, right? There's techniques that we use, and some techniques kind of push away the intuition, and it made me doubt that a little bit. So it was fun to put like this. I don't know, for some reason, whether it be the emotional roller coaster that my character went on, the freedom that Victor gave me, and the strength of my co-stars, that I felt like back in my body and empowered to be like with these people and to do that again.
I really took away it's so special to build a connection with your cast, and it was such a small crew, and that was just like a special thing that I took away. I thought that was so nice. But the thing that I was most excited to learn from this was when I read the script, how to make the character of Olivia not seem like the villain, or not seem like this this ingenue who's about to destroy the relationship with people who are like very likable from the beginning, and then Olivia can come in and kind of blow things up, but still have her be relatable, and you'd also be on her side, and you could be from everyone's angle, and so this character isn't so one-dimensional.
Well, it's my first feature that I directed, so I was learning tons of stuff every day just doing it. I mean, the big takeaway I think is that I learned that if I were to be able to like direct performances every day of my life, I would be happy doing that. I think it's my favorite thing because I love writing. I also edited the movie. I love editing. I love working with the crews, but I don't know. We had a few moments on set where like you're watching them act a scene and like something happens, there's like a shift in the electricity in the air or something. It feels like this weird alchemy kind of just happens, and I don't know, I want to do that every day. And I just really, as much as I loved things I had directed before, like littler things, but I just really learned how much I truly love doing this job, and I want to do this
It's great
for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Lack of judgment for me. Like preconceived notions, judgments in general. I tend not to like labels in all areas of life, whether that be religion, sexuality. Just, I think labels really put you in a little tiny box, and they don't let others, you don't get to learn about others. So I think the lack of judgment from an idea of this relationship as a whole, and the individuals who are not perfect, but I think they have a lot of really amazing qualities. Two things can be true, and that goes with people as well.
Maybe take away that I would want someone to take away that I think it's a good reminder that everybody is on their own journey, and coming from different places and with their own experiences. And yeah, just to be more, gentle with people, because you don't really know where they're coming from or what they've had in the past.
Thai food solves everything. No, yeah, I would kind of go off that too. I think it really shows you that like everybody's going through their own thing, and to be kind and compassionate, and it's hard when we get wrapped up in things to not be able to see each other's, personal pain, but sometimes you got to get bigger than yourself and, kind of allow that to seep in.
I'm going to co-sign all of that, because that's definitely what I think we were going for. I'll say that one of my favorite reactions to the movie came from my friend's mother, who, like, at the end of the movie, she was like, I've never seen a relationship like that before. Like, I didn't know that people did that. I'm like, and the ending surprised me and all this. And I'm like, well, were you happy for them? Like, were you rooting for them? And she was like, kind of surprisingly, like, yeah. So I would say, like, the two things that I wanted to accomplish with the movie is that people who are polyamorous and, like, I wanted to do right by the culture. And at the same time, I wanted people with zero experience or knowledge of it to feel like they could relate to it anyway. And, yeah, that's, I want people to relate to the movie.
Once again, congratulations, everybody. And yes, let's root for outside of the box thinking. Right? Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Have a great day, everyone. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.